It's gone from bad to worse. Browns fans left baffled by coaching decisions, turnovers, and penalties. Are there changes coming? Plus, casual dress at work. How much salary would you sacrifice to dress casually at work? The answer might surprise you. Also, can we trick our kids into healthy treats? We have an expert on how to make Halloween healthy. Relax. You're on lunch break.
It's your lunch break with Jay Crawford.
Okay, I've had 17 hours to think about this rationally.
I thought you were going to say 20 cups of coffee.
No, I've needed 20 drinks of something today.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start this discussion like this. My glass is always half full. And at the end of our Browns discussion, I'm going to leave you with a stat that will leave you filled with hope. That's
I think we need it.
Now.
Yeah.
Wow. A Christmas sale on the desk because it is now available in all retailers that deal in the Great Lakes Brewing Company.
Is that the stat?
Christmas sale.
Is that what's making us feel better?
That should make us feel better. Browns fans can drown
Can we
your
just crack
sorrows.
one of these open and watch the highlights from the game?
Or low lights. What we saw yesterday in New England, and by the way, welcome to Lunch Break. Jay Crawford, Maureen Kyle in all week with us this week. We're thrilled about that. What we saw yesterday just leaves you saying, what in the heck did we just watch?
Yes. I had a couple other choice words.
Yeah, I'm so glad I'm not mic'd up when I'm watching the games. It was the 4th and 16 debacle. That is what it is. That's just a terrible coaching decision. But the other things that stand out to me, the penalties. Again yesterday, 13 penalties in the game. That means we have 70 penalties through 7 games this year.
Wow.
Maureen, that is 10 penalties per game, and that is by far the most in the NFL. So the 4th and 16 thing, just throw that out. You still have 3 turnovers on 3 straight offensive snaps. Browns had 310 yards of offense, not bad. It's only 8 yards less than the Patriots had. So the question we're asking you, and you see it on your screen right now, and we want your voice. Go to WKYC.com to weigh in on this. Will Freddie Kitchens be the coach at the beginning of next season? And right now, 82% of you say no.
Yeah. I mean, that's what the fans are saying online. I mean, there's no article pointing in that direction just yet. But when you watched the post-game interviews, there was, not really a blame game, but it was an insinuating game happening.
That's a good
Well,
point.
this is, this is what needs to be fixed. So I think once the blame game starts, then we can really start to see, this, Freddie Kitchens' fate one way or another.
Yeah, it is early in the game. He's coached 7 games in the NFL. I want you to listen to this soundbite, though, because there could be a sign of trouble in this. Freddie asked yesterday about the penalties. He's been asked this after every game. Here's how he answered it.
I don't coach penalties. I'm not answering questions about penalties. I've never once in 20 years of coaching coached somebody to take a penalty, except in a situation where it would help you clockwise.
So to me, that's part of the problem. This failure to realize that this is and it's not a blip, this is a 7-game trend, 10 penalties per game. Of course you don't coach players to take penalties. You're supposed to coach players not to take penalties.
Yeah.
And clearly that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a fly in the ointment. They need to be playing as a team. That's what's happening. There's a disconnect somewhere. And that's where it's opening up to these penalties. So I don't know who's it's on. I'm not going to say because that's not my job. I don't get paid by the Browns.
Let's put it on all of them.
I mean, you can't leave that door open.
Here's my stat that will leave you filled with hope.
Okay, let's hear it.
The combined records of our 7 opponents so far this year, 36-15. That is the toughest schedule for any team in the NFL. The schedule, or the record rather, of our remaining opponents this year, 19 wins, 40 losses, 1 tie.
Okay.
So there's hope for the future.
There is hope.
You just got to go 8-1 over the next 9 games.
We can't screw that one up.
Okay. Next up, our big changes coming for the Catholic Church. Pope Francis is signaling, Maureen, that this could be the case. Bishops in the Amazon are asking that married men be allowed to become priests. Of course, we know the centuries-old tradition that priests are not allowed to marry. That's one of the topics. The other topic is, and this is interesting, finally, the church, will they allow women to serve as deacons? These are two issues in the church that really is probably the single biggest issue in the church right now. In the last 50 years, Maureen, the priesthood is down 30%.
Wow.
That's a staggering number.
That is. Part of me is almost surprised it's not more.
I thought it would be more too. I think you're right. I thought it would be bigger. Here's the stat that really drives this home. In 1970, there was one priest for every 1,400 parishioners in the United States. Today, there is one priest for every 4,200 parishioners.
Yeah.
Those are staggering numbers. And the Pope is basically he's easing this in by asking Catholics to at least be open to the idea that change is coming. And he says he's going to listen to the bishops and he's going to decide on this by the end of the year. Do you have a gut feeling on what's going to happen here, or a preference?
I think something has to change, because life has changed. Families have changed. And we were talking about this even before the show, that it used to be families with 14 kids would send one of them off to the seminary, and that one son would become the priest. And that's just not how life is anymore. You don't have these huge Irish Catholic families that would send one to that's just not how life goes anymore. So maybe it is introducing a priest can be married, or maybe it is a female deacon.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know the stats on females going into the sisterhood.
Yeah, well, those numbers are down as well. We're both Catholic. I think we both kind of agree on this. It might be time for change, for the survival of the church.
Yeah.
Okay, here is a very interesting stat we found. According to a recent study, Maureen, Americans are willing to sacrifice $5,000 a year in salary for the option to dress casually at work.
That was surprising. It was really surprising to me, because one of the gut instincts we had was, well, maybe you're saving that $5,000 on clothing, but I think I would just spend it on more casual clothing. I don't think it would really save me that much. So to say that you would give up that chunk of change to wear your comfies, that's big. But a lot of businesses are going this way.
It is, and you see it more and more. Actually, in work environments and office environments, the trend has definitely been going towards more casual. A study found that if all things were equal, and the employer was allowing you to choose to dress casually at work, the overwhelming majority of people would take that option. So we know that's the way Americans want to address this. Robert Glazer wrote a book called Elevate. It's basically a how-to manual on unlocking your own success. Here's what he says about dressing casually in the workplace.
If you're a software firm and you want people in there coding and t-shirts and shorts and have their dogs and stuff, like that's great, and that might work.
In place.
Yeah, I feel good today. My shirt is the exact shirt that Robert Glazer was wearing.
Years ago, you would not be up here in a dress shirt and a vest, and I would be in a business suit.
And
when I started, that's what they sold.
I'm so entrenched in this mindset. When I was deciding what I wanted to do for a living, I literally gave consideration to the idea of not becoming a sportscaster, because when I was doing this, the idea was suit tie every day.
Yeah.
And I am not a suit tie guy, as you can tell. And literally, part of what makes me happy in my workplace is my wardrobe. And I'm never happy in a suit and tie. I'm just not.
Yeah.
Suit and ties are for weddings and funerals, in my view.
Yeah.
So I'm all for the casual thing at work.
Tomorrow, you're going to show up in a t-shirt and shorts.
Well, I don't know if I can take it that far. I don't know.
One day we'll get you there.
But if I could, Stephanie, I probably would.
Yeah.
Stephanie Haney is our digital anchor. She always has her fingers on the pulse of what's trending here in Cleveland. And Stephanie, what is clicking in Cleveland this morning?
What's clicking in Cleveland today is taking us all the way to the West Coast. We've got some tough news going on today. The wildfires are raging on the West Coast, two of them in particular. One of them has had LeBron James, Natalie Morales, Maria Shriver, and many, many other people evacuated from their homes in Southern California. LeBron tweeted early this morning that he was actually driving around searching for a place to stay after he had to leave with his family. Now that's thanks to the Getty Fire. This started as a brush fire near the Getty Center in Los Angeles, where fire officials say that more than 400 acres are burning near the 405 highway. Over 10,000 buildings, that's homes and businesses, are in the mandatory evacuation zone. Up north, it's worse. The Kincaid Fire in Sonoma County. Now, this is wine country in Northern California, is going strong, and strong winds are not helping the lookout for this. CAL FIRE says over 66,000 acres have already burned, and only 5% of that fire is under control. Now, as of early this morning, almost 80,000 buildings are in danger in that area, and already at least 96 have been destroyed. Back to LA for a moment. In case you were worried about LeBron, he did find a place to take his family, thankfully, but a lot of other people may not be so lucky, which he did acknowledge when he tweeted after the fact that he is praying for all of the families in the area that could be affected by these fires. And he says, pretty please get yourself to safety. Don't stay. Listen to those evacuation warnings. The wildfires in California, they are not a joke.
Yeah.
No, this is a very serious thing. Stephanie, thanks. We appreciate it. Next on Lunch Break, how do you keep your kids safe while they're running through the streets looking for candy? Simple tricks to make sure we all stay safe this Halloween. That's next on Lunch Break. Welcome back to Lunch Break. Jay Crawford, Maureen Kyle. So if you will allow us to go back to the Browns for a second. Maureen, I think this might be part of the problem.
This was the only thing that looked good on the field.
It looked good, but follow me. Okay. Odell Beckham Jr. has been making way more news for his attire on the field than his actions on the field. Yesterday it was all about the cleats that he wore, those Halloween scary cleats. Didn't scare New England at all. And then these cleats. These are goat-haired cleats that OBJ had 2 pairs of these made. One for him, of course, and one for Tom Brady. And this is OBJ after getting a thrashing from the Patriots, presenting the cleats to Tom Brady. And I want you to focus in the background. Who is that lurking in the background?
Oh, Baker.
That is Baker Mayfield.
Baker's like, where are my goat cleats?
Watching his guy bow down to the quarterback that just beat him.
I had not seen this picture yet.
That is not a good look.
No.
On anybody. It's just not a good look. So Odell Beckham Jr. has made news for an illegal visor, wearing a watch on the field, not having the proper knee pads on, Halloween cleats, goat hair cleats. He's made all news off the field, all while scoring 1 touchdown on the field. It's time that changes. Forget this nonsense about what you're wearing. Score touchdowns.
We need something to talk about on Monday morning, though. As the morning show anchor on Monday morning,
he hasn't let you down.
Okay, what cleats was he wearing?
He hasn't let us down. Halloween just 3 days away now, and so too is trick-or-treating, and that can be a dangerous thing.
It can. It actually makes me a little bit nervous, so we want to make sure that you and your kids have a safe and fun time. Our road warrior, Danielle Wiggins, is showing you how dangerous the roads can be, but she's also showing you how to stay safe.
It's that season where kids hit the streets in search of their favorite sweets.
Thank you.
But here's a scary statistic. The National Safety Council says kids are more than twice as likely to be hit and killed by a car on Halloween than on any other day of the year.
The mass number of children out, and they're concerned getting their candy, getting as much candy as they can get. So they're not paying attention to what they're doing, and they can run right in front of you.
Bob Adamich, a retired police officer turned driving instructor, took us out on the roads to school us on what to look out for during trick-or-treat.
Some of the costumes will be dark, which is going to make it very difficult to see the children.
Just take a look at this photo of a child in an all-black Fortnite costume. It was taken at 7:45 p.m. Can you spot him? Here he is, barely visible. You can only see him the closer he gets to the street light.
Pay attention and expect the unexpected.
Adamich says drivers should also slow down and check for people between parked cars who could dart out without notice. Just look for feet around the cars. And don't let decorations distract you.
For those of you on foot, you're not off the hook. Put the devices away, keep your head up, look before you cross, and walk, not run across the street.
That's always helpful advice. So if you're going to be Darth Vader or Batman, and you're going to be in those, I know it's not as intimidating, but put those reflective strips somewhere on your costume so cars can see you when their lights hit you.
And they have the glow-in-the-dark necklaces, and the kids would love to wear those. So there's no excuse. Yeah.
Okay, Stephanie Haney's been monitoring the Freddie Kitchens dilemma. Fire Freddie was trending yesterday on Twitter. What are folks saying about it?
Well, we have a debate going on in the live stream. Isaac Abadi says we should have kept Greg Williams as head coach, but Dan Valvo says he is sick of hearing everybody talk about firing Freddie, that we turn everybody over every 2 years. We haven't given a head coach and a front office a chance in 20 years. He thinks we have unrealistic expectations, and he predicts that we still go 9-7.
All right, that's possible. I mentioned the rest of the way our schedule is very easy. But, of course, they're all looking at the Browns saying, that's an easy game for us.
Right.
All right, next on the menu. One study shows kids can eat about 7,000 calories of candy on Halloween. Can you imagine that? We have an expert to tell us how to keep your kids happy without the sugar overload. That's next.
I think I'm right here.
I'm eating
Stop that!
I can't. Okay, we're probably all guilty of this, stealing our kids' Halloween candy. According to Wallet Hub, 85% of parents have a plan to make sure their kids enjoy the sweets in moderation, but that may include taking some for themselves.
Yeah, a study found that 72% of parents admit to stealing their kids' candy. The rest are lying or thinking that it's sharing. Americans estimated to spend $2.6 billion on Halloween candy this year.
Yeah, my own market research says 100% of all parents steal their candy.
Yeah.
So, 72% of the parents are honest and say, I do.
Yeah. Right.
The other
or
28%
count it as
are lying.
stealing. The other percentage is just like, no, this is my job to eat this.
Community property, I used to call it. So it's fair game. Yeah, moderation is really the key when you're celebrating Halloween, especially for the little guys. When you pour them full of sugar, they're going to be bouncing off the walls. Tracy Fisher is a wellness coach, and she's here to basically give us a roadmap for how our kids can enjoy Halloween without being filled with sugar.
That is true.
Now,
That's
the first thing, what kind? You're going to give us tricks, which is good. So, what kind of tricks can we play? Can candy play on the body? Because we know that it does.
It does. All right. So first of all, I want to start by saying that what we're talking about is shifting our mindset. You were sneaking candy earlier here.
Crazy.
And so it really is about shifting the way that we think about it. So that's first and foremost, because thoughts come before action, right? So we want to change the way that we're thinking about it.
Okay.
So Halloween is a great opportunity to teach our children to think about it a little bit differently.
So what does that mean? Like, how would I explain? Because I have little ones, and they see candy, and they know it's a treat, and that's as far as their mind goes. So how do we teach them to think about it differently?
Right. So I think first and foremost, it's really talking about the other activities and really focusing on pumpkin carving. And you guys went and did the costume switch, right? Where you picked out a costume for Betsy, right? You really focused on that. And so then the candy became like the thing that we talked about a little bit later.
So I see what you're doing. It's like a bait and switch. Keep them busy doing fun things so their mind doesn't wander to candy.
And that's true. And it is actually a little bit more than a bait and switch. It's really framing the way that you think about Halloween or any celebrations. We've got a lot of celebrations coming up. So we're really framing it differently. And you have little ones, right?
Yeah.
So you frame it differently. And the candy kind of becomes like something that happens to be there. It's not the main focus, right? So.
And you had a good idea to have the kids swap their candy for activities, like almost like using it as cash.
Totally, that's exactly it. Like, to use it for cash. So you can do like little coupons ahead of time and say, listen, so if you want to go to the movies, then that'll be 10 Kit Kats. Or if you would like to go to a friend's sleepover, then that'll be 20 bags of candy corn. So it's a good way to barter. But really, we want to change the way that we're thinking about it to start with and really just kind of focus on
Then what happens to the 20 Kit Kats? You throw them away?
What did you talk about? You eat them?
I would eat them.
Yes, throw them away.
See, I'm afraid my kids, they're grown now, but I'm afraid if had I tried that, they would have just said, Dad, enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
They love their candy.
I think that you are just beyond help right now.
Jay's going to eat all of the candy that's resting in this pumpkin. But what does it do to the body? I mean, Jay asked before, like, what does it do? Because I can tell when I've had too much sugar, and then I get the headache, and I get, like,
you totally
wonky.
do. Yeah. Right. So a good way to think about that is to say to your kids that there's a little trick in your treat. And so that when you're eating candy, of course, it tastes delicious and it's a lot of fun to eat, but also, and we know that there's a dopamine rush, right? It is literally addictive. You referenced that.
Yeah.
It's addictive. So the candy is tricking your brain, and the more you eat, the more that you want. And so we want to be smarter or trickier than the candy. And so we set them up to know that. And you can just look at the backside and how many sugar grams are on there. And the higher the sugar grams, the higher it's trickier, right?
Oh, yeah.
It works on me.
Yeah, it totally does. So that's the easy way.
I put my Whopper wrappers inside my little jack-o'-lantern in there.
You're telling on yourself.
I know, I did. Tracy, thank you.
Yes.
Seriously, those are really valuable tips.
Yeah,
Try to
pleasure.
limit the amount of candy your kids eat. It's going to be good for everybody in the long run.
Yeah.
We're back to wrap up this edition of Lunch Break. Right after you see this, we're going to tell you about the chicken sandwich that people are going bananas for.
20 Kit Kats for the chicken sandwich.
There you go.
Deal.
All right.
Done. Stay with us. Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, thank you. That was a lot of fun. guess what? It's back. One of the most viral chicken sandwiches will return to Popeyes. The chain sold out in August, shortly after launching the item. Today, the company said the popular sandwich will return November 3rd, which is Sunday, just after you get out of that sugar coma.
I think it's all a marketing ploy. They run out of chicken sandwiches.
Who brings out a chicken? A chicken sandwich
I'm
place?
on to you, Popeyes.
Yeah.
The poll, 81% of Clevelanders believe that Freddie will not be the coach when the Browns open the season next season.
We'll have to see. It's like a yearly event.
See you tomorrow.
Thanks for making 3 News a part of your afternoon. Watch us live wherever you are, on our website, on our apps, and on Hulu and Roku. No matter where you are, 3 News is there.